Perhaps we haven't met. I'm Discord.
Another chaotic battle!
Taste the scream of death.
Greetings, comrades. This is 88 Gelu, and as you can see, we are finally here with another chaotic deck. Man, it's been a long time. I know I just sent out another chaotic video, but the reason this one's coming out so soon is because it's Hanukkah, and I thought I should make a nice little video considering that a lot of you guys on this channel are real big fans of chaotic, and this was a deck that I had lying around that I should have just gotten around to recording. It does utilize a few, not too many of the cards that I got in the 288 Forged Unity packs, but that's really aside the point. So, without further ado, let's get into this deck. This is, as you may be able to tell, it's a Gan'Trak deck. This is, I think, the first Gan'Trak deck that I have put up on this channel, though that could be wrong. And as you can see, it utilizes, once again, my whole Lord Von Blute shtick. So it runs Sorry, let me try get back into the swing of things. Let's go through the creatures, shall we? As you can see, they're all marrillians and underworlders, though that's not really important. So we have two Bladeses. One of them is equipped with the Corral Husk Armor, but because it's unique, I couldn't equip it to both of them. So I decided to equip the other one with the Ulminator, which has creatures engaged with the equipped creature lose 10 to all disciplines for each element type they have. So an important thing to note is this is a Gan'Trak deck, and if you're unfamiliar with Gan'Trak decks, this is what it's all about. Gan'Trak's ability is attacks played by your creatures reduce the opposing engaged creature's disciplines by an amount equal to the damage they would deal instead of dealing damage. If a creature has 0 in all disciplines, destroy it. So the point is, you're not dealing damage to a creature's energy, you're trying to reduce all of your opponent's creatures' disciplines to 0 and thus killing them. The reason why Blades is so good is his brainwashed ability is attacks played by Blades gain opposing engaged creature lose 10 to all disciplines, as you may be able to see right here. The main aspect of this deck is it has challenges and stat fails, since you're lowering since you can lower your opponent's stats really fast. It's really easy to succeed most challenges, even with creatures that aren't particularly high in those disciplines. More specifically, it focuses a bit more on power and courage, since those are the two disciplines that these creatures tend more to be effective with. Next, we have Lord Von Blute. I have equipped to him the Zirum armor. He has 2 Muji counters. Blades both have 0. And while creatures engaged with Lord Von Blute has courage... has courage less than 65, it gains recklessness 5, which we don't care about, and exhaust all disciplines 5, which is really cool. So they're going to lose 5 to each discipline on each of their after every attack. And because of the Zirum armor, which has unique, and I have not used it before, if the equipped creature has taken more than 20 damage from an attack, it takes 20 damage instead. So this guarantees that at minimum Lord Von Blute will last through 3 attacks. And because he's surviving longer, the exhaust has more time to take its effect, and you have more time to reduce your opponent's courage and let it activate. Obviously, if I had Lord Von Blute's Scythe, I would give it to him instead. I'm also wondering if I should instead give Blades a Zirum armor, since the other one has the Corral Husk armor, and then maybe give Lord Von Blute a drill dozer instead, so he would get plus 20 energy. But that is something that I will leave for you guys to help me figure out in the comments section. Then we have Rage Trod. I always like using Rage Trod. He has fairly high energy. More importantly, he has 2 Muja counters, and his ability can be pretty useful. By paying 1 Muja counter, relocate target opposing unengaged creature into an unoccupied space adjacent to it. So if you have a really tough creature of your opponent's, it's going to get into a fight with some of your more valuable creatures, like Makadin, I think is his name, Rage Trod or Gan'Trak. If there isn't a battle currently going on, you can try and move it out of the way and let it become the prey for your Bladeses. He is equipped with a Bronze Flight, so he can gain Defender against creatures with range to, once again, defend Makadin and Gan'Trak. And he is not affected by Recklessness because he is brainwashed, which is always nice. Then we have Makadin. I had the most trouble with deciding this guy's battle gear. So this guy is the only Flood Morpher that can really work in a Gan'Trak deck, because his ability is expend water, he gains a Muja counter. Because since you don't actually deal damage, you cannot gain Muja counters from Flood Morph, because your water attacks will not do damage no matter what you do. He has 40 energy, and I decided to give him the Weightless Energy Vessel, since his very low energy can mean that something like 2 Cannons of Casualty can easily kill him, and it makes him not able to be a target of Mujic. It begins the game face up. I also toyed with the idea of giving him a Gigan Trooper, but once again, that I really think that you guys could just give me your suggestions in the comments, since I'm always glad to hear what you guys have to say, and I know a number of you are probably more experienced with Chaotic than I am, or at least have played it more frequently than I have. Last, we have the main event for this whole deck. We have Gan'Trak. So, I already read to you his ability. He has average energy. You do not want him to fight. Whatever you do not want him to fight, because he will most likely die horribly. I gave him Ulmar's Projector, so he is equipped and loses 10 energy, but if he dies, you can get another one right away. Because if the equipped creature loses combat, return it to play in an open space on your side of the battle board with no Muji counters. He has no Muji counters to begin with. The first thing you're going to notice is that, or may notice, is that there's quite a number of Muji counters right off the bat with these guys. So, turn 1, you can expend water from him and have a total of 5 Muji counters. That is very useful, as these Mujics will almost certainly determine the outcome of the game. We have Predator's Song, which is basically essential to any discipline-draining deck. 1 Muji counter, sacrifice an unengaged creature. If you do, target engaged creature loses X from each discipline, where X is the sacrifice creature's scanned disciplines. If the sacrifice creature is a minion, which we don't care about, engaged creature also loses 10 energy. Usually I would pair that with sacrificing Rage Trod, because Makadin has a bit more utility. But there will be circumstances where, if you know one of your creatures is going to die, like for instance, if Makadin becomes the target of let's say Ulmar Parathon Racer's expendability, to just keep deal him 10 damage, or other creature related effects. If he's going to die, you could always sacrifice him with Predator's Song, so it wasn't a total loss. And he does have some fairly good stats, so it would help you a lot. Obviously, there are 2 cadence clashes for negating music, or for returning a music of yours that may be countered back into your hand. Like, you really do not want to waste Predator's song, so it's always better to try and recover that. I have a Melody of Mirrored Actions. Destroy target battle gear equipped to an engaged creature, just to get a bit of gear destruction. Then we have Carnivore's Keening. Target creature gains 30 energy and 10 recklessness. It's mainly there just to do a bit of healing. And last, there is Fatiguing Falsetto. Target creature gains Exhaust All Disciplines 15, which is huge. Fatiguing Falsetto could be played by Lord Von Blute or Rage Trod. Every single one of these musics is generic, so they can be played by anyone. So you could say, I don't know, put this on Rage Trod, and then these 4 musics could all be cast by Macadin. Or you could shuffle it around, because that's the brilliance of having so many music counters on the field with only using generic music. Now let's go into the locations. This is the area of the deck that I actually felt most proud of. So we have 2 Halls of Fatigue, Initiative Speed, creatures gain Exhaust Power and Speed 5. 2 Pazoka Madness Chambers, Initiative Courage, creatures gain Exhaust, Courage, and Wisdom 5. Mount Pillar, Reservoir, Nethuar's Foothold, Initiative Courage. When this becomes the active location, each player may return a chieftain from their discard pile to play in an unoccupied space on their side of the battle board with no music counters. In other words, if Gan'Trak dies, even after being destroyed with Ulmar's Projector, or if the Ulmar Projector is destroyed before he is killed, or through effects, because then the Ulmar's Projector would not be flipped up, then you could always bring him back with this location. I may have to add another one in. And it also has Marrillians and minion creatures gain Water 5, but that doesn't actually make any difference, as you cannot deal water damage. Then we have 2 Newman Voidlands, Initiative Scanned Energy. At the beginning of combat, engaged creatures lose all element types and gain 10 energy for each type lost this way. This is really useful because there are only, I believe, 2 attacks in this deck that use an element type, and that element's water. And those attacks are not, and it's not incredibly needed to have water for those attacks. So with this, you can eliminate most decks from being able to deal you significant damage, because most decks do rely on element types, and you will remain fine and actually gain energy. Then we have Glacier Plains Marrillian Melting Camp, Initiative Flood Morpher. At the beginning of combat, each player may sacrifice 2 music counters. If a player does not, their engaged creature loses 50 in each discipline. So it's really easy for you to sacrifice music counters thanks to Macadin. And also, losing 50 to each discipline is going to shorten your battle immensely, because most creatures will not have close to 100 in a discipline, and even those who do, chances are you're gonna make some pretty swift work of them regardless. And then the last 2, and these 2 locations are kind of questionable, is Kiru City Tunnels, Initiative Mute. Creatures with 35 or more scanned energy deal 10 less damage. When any player shuffles the attack deck, that player reveals a new active location. So this means that usually your opponent's going to deal 10 less damage to your guys. The reason why this is questionable is I'm not sure if Gan'Trak's ability would mean that your attacks would also do 10 less to each discipline. If they do, I could always replace them with, as mentioned, another Mount Pillar Reservoir, or even something like Underworld City, Von Blut's Ascension, or Gotho's Tower, or some other similar locations. Or the Chamber of Waves, which I believe just makes them flat out lose 10 to all disciplines. And last, we have the attacks. So for the attacks, we have Flash Kick, to shuffle around locations. Once again, if Gan'Trak dies, you really want to find that Mount Pillar Reservoir. Or also against an elemental deck, you'd really want to find the Newman Voidland. Or against something like a War Beast deck, you might really want to find the Glacier Plains. Just all around useful. Terror Flying Tackle, it's the Courage stat fail card. Degenerate. If your creature has water, your opposing creature loses 25 to all disciplines, and you lose water. That can really only be used by Macadin, who shouldn't be fighting, and Lord Von Blut. Squeeze Play, for shuffling around attacks, though, I don't know, I could switch it in for another Flash Kick, potentially. 2 Fear Projections, 2 Time Slows. Fear Projection will lower Courage, Time Slow will lower Speed. 2 Daunting Braveries. So for Courage challenges and also stat check Courage, your opponent loses Courage. Psycho Drain to drain power. Mind Sink to drain Wisdom. Discipline Destruction. This was one of the cards I got in Forged Unity. 10 base damage. Challenge each discipline 15, deal 10 damage for each. So to a maximum of dealing 50 damage. Or in our case, your opponent would lose 50 to each discipline. And that, once again, shouldn't be that hard to do with all these cards that reduce disciplines. Dry Liquid, Power Challenge, and could make your opponent lose power with the stat check. Disempowerment Combo. This is the other one that uses water. It just has 5 water damage right here, but it has 5 base damage, stat fail, each stat 30, deal 10 damage. So once again, can do a maximum of 50 to each discipline. And also, once again, should not be that hard to accomplish. Rancorous Projection, base damage 40. For each discipline over 50, the opposing engaged creature has reduced the damage of Rancorous Projection that Rancorous Projection would deal by 10. I would definitely put in another one of these if I had it, instead of maybe Terror Flying Tackle or Gravity Slam, which is the next card that I have. But because you can, once again, very quickly reduce your opponent's disciplines to below 50 in each discipline, chances are it will probably do its maximum 40 damage. And then Gravity Slam. Just like Terror Flying Tackle, except power. So it's a stat fail each stat in power. And that is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. I would really like to see what kind of comments and suggestions you have for this deck. Once again, sorry about the fumbling over words in this video. It's been a long time since I did a chaotic deck review, and I guess I need to get back into the swing of things. But yeah, guys, thanks again for watching. Have a happy Hanukkah if you do celebrate it. If you don't, I hope you have a good week anyway. So yeah, guys, thanks again for watching. Goodbye.